We want all athletes in. We're 8.5 acre facility. I know we'll get into it a little bit more, but we have the bubble, which is a dome where we have 7 70-foot batting cages. We have 3 bullpen pitching lanes, and then we have a 170 by 140 full Major League Baseball infield, which also we rent out to multiple sports, including football, which I know is something that we're going to talk about a little bit. So that's the bubble side. Then on the clubhouse side, we've got this weight area that everybody can kind of see behind. We've got a full weight system. We've got a couple of universal machines right here behind us. We've got the technology piece, then the recovery where we have cryotherapy. We have localized cryotherapy. We've got Normatec boots, Theraguns, sauna, a cold plunge is on its way. We've got professional trainers.
All season, I can dominate all season. Put in work in the all season. All season. So I can dominate all season. Put in work in the all season. All season.
All right, so we're back, episode 15 of the Off-Season Podcast, and we're here at the Great Lakes Sports Hub in Crown Point, Indiana, and we have GM Mike Smalls of the Great Lakes Sports Hub. Thanks for having us. We appreciate you allowing us to come and, shoot the podcast here and, view the facility. It's a great facility. We were talking Definitely. A little bit with Drake earlier, just having everything you need here, like this weight room, like you have like up-to-date, equipment, like the technology with the power plates, and I saw Patrick Mahomes using this machine. What is this
Yeah,
called?
That's called a Proteus machine.
Okay.
So it's a 3-dimensional machine that you can do virtually every sport, and it measures out what you're good at and then your deficiencies as well. So what that does is helps create an overall program for what you need to get better at. So especially from a baseball standpoint, if it's a swing, if it's throwing, where your deficiencies are at, and then work around that with the workout itself.
Okay. And then this one right here, like, isn't this like the hand-eye coordination?
Yeah, it's called Reflection.
Okay.
And it's a hand-eye. It's what sometimes you see it in different different venues. I know like the Chicago Sports Hall of Fame has one where you're just hand-eye coordination. You're tapping as quickly as you can, and then it gives you different patterns so that you can learn really how to program your eyes and your hands for that coordination. So. Pretty cool stuff. Part of the technology that we have here at the hub.
Definitely. So this space is it's not just for baseball, right? Like it's for all sports. All athletes can come in and get their work in. You got it. We want all athletes in. We're
8.5 acre facility. I know we'll get into it a little bit more, but we have the bubble, which is a dome where we have 7 70-foot batting cages. We have 3 bullpen pitching lanes, and then we have a 170 by 140 full Major League Baseball infield, which also we rent out to multiple sports, including football, which I know is something that we're going to talk about a little bit. So that's the bubble side. Then on the clubhouse side, we've got this weight area that everybody can kind of see behind. We've got a full weight system. We've got a couple of universal machines right here behind us. We've got the technology piece, then the recovery where we have cryotherapy. We have localized cryotherapy. We've got Normatec boots, Theraguns, sauna, a cold plunge is on its way. We've got professional trainers that are in here managing the workouts. We've got a physical therapist on staff. And then on the outside, way over there, we've got a batting cage simulator that's more, we call it sportstainment, for kids and adults to come in and just have a little bit of fun. And then we've got the Hub Pub, which is we've got food and drinks for adults and kids, so that people can enjoy themselves while their kids practice or work out.
Yeah.
Wow, pretty much got it all.
Everything.
Yeah, I remember talking to you, Mike. You were saying that this facility used to be something else, right? It was an entertainment facility.
Yeah,
like
it was
games and
the
stuff?
old Crown Point Fun Center. So I didn't even hit on the outside. When it's 0 degrees outside, it's hard to think about the outside workout areas. But we do have a large area out front that used to be the Crown Point miniature golf course out there. So we've gotten rid of all that, leveled all that off, and we're going to use that as an outdoor field for both baseball, softball, and football.
Wow.
We've got a bullpen area outside that can handle up to 8 pitchers at a time. So we're kind of thinking college mindset, so that these kids can come out here and use it like they're going to use it in college. But yeah, where we're sitting now actually didn't exist. We added this on, but where the recovery area is and the hub pub, that used to be like a gaming area, arcade type thing. And then we've actually still got the go-karts out there. They are, we do have the go-kart track out there. That is not something that we're currently renting out. That's going to be just for exclusive parties and things like that. But yeah, this place was, it was a fun center. And when, when we took it over, it still had very much a fun center vibe. And, I got to give a lot of credit to Bobby Morris and Gloria Morris. Bobby had this vision, and we talked about it for years. And he had this vision of, when he played ball, what would he want to get him to the highest level? And Bobby played at a high level. He played baseball at the University of Iowa, was a professional player for 12 years. I mean, he did play at a high level, and yet he put all this in here so that these kids can have an opportunity, to mimic what he did, and play at that elite level. So to go from the kind of Mardi Gras themed arcade to what this is now has been a pretty major accomplishment.
Yep, there's a will, there's a way, though.
Definitely.
That's it.
Definitely.
Yeah, so like when I see this place, I definitely think of like a state-of-the-art facility. Like this is really something that could majorly impact like the athletes in this area for real. Like this could be a place for true development. Like this, I know it's a lot of other places that I've seen, whether it be in Chicago or in Michigan or in Florida or California, where this is like a hub based on development. Just with you have the strength part of it, you have the recovery part of it, you have the field access, you have the outside. So there is nothing that you can't do in here as far as development. And I think that's what this area needs, because it's an underutilized, underappreciated area as far as sports goes. And I think with the right push, this could be a breeding ground for high level athletes. Because I see it all the time, even with us, training, majority football players. I see the potential of the athlete, but it's just like, it's always too late. It's always like you're so far behind. And I think the biggest issue with the success of the athletes is not high school, but it's the transition to college. It's you've been in a high school system that isn't preparing you to go to college. So when you go to college, to adapt is a little bit harder versus somebody who is at let's say a Bishop Gorman in Vegas, where it's essentially a college program, or a Mater Dei or a St. John Bosco, where they're running it like a college program. So those kids go to college and they're not a step behind. They've been doing this. They've been getting up at 6 a.m. They've been going to meetings. They've been breaking down film. They've been playing against some of the top competition in the country. So they go there and they flourish, versus kids here who may have that same ability, they just don't have the resources to prepare them. So they go and they can't adjust. You know what I mean? So I could see this being a place where you come outside of your school to come here and get work in, and it contributes to your development and being the best that you could possibly be.
No doubt. And so here's the issue that I see. Not just baseball. My two sons played baseball and football, so I've seen both sides of it at the high school level, and the coaches are limited to a degree, right? Like the states say you can only do so much. Well, if I can only do so much, and I've got 60 kids that are playing football, well, how do I manage that time? And it's very, very difficult. And so we see a lot of kids that come in and use us as kind of a supplemental workout, when the reality is it kind of becomes a primary workout when they have access to professional trainers that can, well, what are you good at? Drake, I'll use him as an example because, obviously, seeing him from, when he was little all the way up to now. So with Drake, what did he do? Well, his lower half was strong from when he was young. And so when he had, coached training, then it was, okay, let's focus a little bit more on the upper half and how we can develop you into that level of athlete, total body. But when these guys are going to their high schools, a lot of times from a workout standpoint, they're getting handed a sheet. Like, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but when I played, it was like, here's the strength workout, and it's like, okay, I've got my 3 sets of squats, I got my 3 sets of power clean, I got my 3 sets of deadlift, and it was all the same thing. And I was doing the same thing as a defensive back as the linemen were doing.
Exactly.
And guys, that's happening still.
Yeah.
It's crazy. They're getting handed this sheet, and it's like, why is this guy that's 140 pounds sophomore doing the same thing as a 290-pound defensive lineman senior. And it just doesn't make a whole lot of common sense. Now, listen, from a resource standpoint, money's limited, right? You're limited by what you can do with the state. The schools, I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean, there's some really, really nice weight rooms around here. But again, you got 60 athletes for an hour? What do you do?
Yep.
I mean, and so it's really difficult. So we look at that and say, how can we supplement that really good player in Northwest Indiana to then become that next level Division I player, okay? So a lot of people around here, what do they think? We're 45 minutes, an hour from Chicago? I got to go to Chicago. We're an hour 45 from Indianapolis? Nah, got to go to Indianapolis. It just isn't true anymore. They have it here and they have it in their backyard, whatever sport it is. You know, you want to talk about a volleyball player. You know, we've got the OXFit machine over here that has the force plates that we can do that kind of training for you know, a jump athlete to work on verticals. Obviously, we've got, you know, the weight room to be able to do weight training for all athletes. And from a baseball standpoint, an indoor facility, I mean, I don't know where else within driving distance that you're going to be able to do something like that. And so we want to be able to set it up so that if I go hit, let's say I have a hitting instruction, I go hit, I come over here, I work out, I might have a team practice. We've got a tutor on staff that if you need academic tutoring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
so
do
it's even beyond sports.
everything.
Yeah.
This, you know, and I do mental performance training, so I work with different athletes to do mental performance. So I guess it was about 6 years ago, Bobby and I were talking, and I said, man, we want to have a place where it's safe for kids to go, and it's with like-minded players, okay? Like, I get it. You can go to a different workout facility. I get that. But you're going to go to a different workout facility, and you're going to be around a bunch of dudes that they're only halfway serious. They think it would be cool to play in college, but they aren't dedicated to playing in college.
Right.
So you wind up, you know, there's an old saying, like, you become the 5 people you spend the most time around. Well, if you're spending all your time around these mediocre people, you're going to be mediocre. And so we wanted to create an environment where it's like-minded people that are saying, you know, I want to play at the collegiate level, I want to play at the professional level, and that's what we got here, and that's what we put together so that you don't have to go, well, I need help with, you know, my ACT prep. Okay, we got you. Man, I am just really struggling. And I heard, you know, you guys asked Drake about, you know, when he went over to Ireland. You know, I've been working with Drake for a long time, and you know, I always say on game day, what's the most important, you know, the 3 most important things. 1, don't make it bigger than it is. It doesn't matter if you're in Ireland. It doesn't matter if you're at Andrain. It doesn't matter if you're just in an open field playing. Don't make it bigger than it is. You've been there. You've done it before. You know, and then we talk about leadership and following routines and some other stuff. But, you know, we want to make sure that kids here, they have this opportunity to really do that and really play at that level. And if they're struggling mentally, we got you. You're struggling in the classroom, we got you. Struggling with, you know, man, I'm just not strong enough, gotcha. Man, I don't get to hit enough, gotcha. Okay, we got you covered. If you want to play at that level, we will help you get there.
And what age groups, you know, would you say you're targeting for this facility?
You know, that's a great question. So we really start with like 9-year-olds,
Okay.
And that's mainly focused on speed. Obviously, 9-year-olds are not getting on squat racks.
Yeah,
You know, so you know, they'll do some plyometric training and some jump training and things like that to get a little bit stronger at that young age. A lot of it is speed and understanding their bodies and how to use their bodies. Then we start 12 to 14 is when our trainers start doing an introduction to weight training. And that's based on the player, of course. If it's an undersized 12-year-old or even an undersized 14-year-old, you know, they may have to wait a little bit to build themselves up. But 12 to 14 is when they get into more of the introductory classes. And then high school, obviously, you know, they're working out full strength and speed training. It's a lot of fun here in the, you know, during the break time, because we have a bunch of college athletes that come back and work out. And this is the first time they've been able to come back and use the weight room too. And so it was just fun. I mean, the energy was awesome. They were in here, and I'm talking like big time players getting after it. And, you know, the energy was a lot of fun, and it was. So really, to answer your question, we're really focusing on that 9-year-old and up, all the way up into the professional levels.
Yeah, and I think that's important because that's something me and FA talk about a lot off the camera, is really getting kids at it at a real early age, you know what I mean? And then it could just be early on. But the earlier you learn these techniques and the earlier you get into a habit and the earlier you know your strengths and your weaknesses and the things that you're interested in, whether it's a sport, whether it's academics, you know, the earlier you figure those things out, you're going to be way better on when you gradually go into your adulthood. And then when you're saying that here you start off with 9-year-olds, you're not getting them into everything that a high schooler would be doing or a college guy would be doing. Even you said with the 12 and 14-year-olds as well, but you're gradually kind of bringing them into it. And I think that's going to make them a better athlete. That's going to make them also a better person academically, and it's probably going to make them overall just a better human being altogether. So I definitely appreciate someone like you doing that in the area with a nice facility like this. You're really starting it with the younger people, and then it's gradually trickling up into their adulthood, essentially.
Oh, 100%. And so we talk about school sports life, right? Like it has to happen at all levels, you know, and if you're, you know, we talk about competing all the time. Like if you aren't competing now, as a, you know, 7th, 8th grader, certainly high school player, if you're not competing now, how are you going to compete as an adult? Man, I want to get a job. Oh, okay. What do you think you do? You just walk in and you say, hey, I want to get $150,000 a year. Thank you. That's not how it works. You got to compete. You got to compete all the time. And so, and what we want to do is be able to create habits for these kids, because when they get into routines, right? Like I tell this to parents all the time. When we set a practice schedule, okay, when I'm coaching my team and I set a practice schedule, nothing's optional. Everything's mandatory. And my team's good. We travel quite a bit. I coach one of our 12-year-old teams over here, and we travel a lot. It's a major commitment, and we're going to do things the right way. And when I say be there, they are there. Nobody misses, like ever. And yet, we talk about workouts. Kids skip workouts all the time. They don't do the speed stuff. They don't do the strength stuff. They go, you know, kids that get in the classroom, they say, well, I got a C or a D. My dad was a 7th grade science teacher for 32 years. My mom was a high school guidance counselor and a math teacher. My sister's a math teacher. My dad always taught us there's no such thing as a C student. There's only kids that give C effort. And that's it. So these kids, like if we start creating the opportunities for them and the routines for them, well, I'm doing speed as a 10-year-old, but I'm here twice a week doing speed. And when I hit 12, I'm doing twice a week intro to strength training. And by the time I get to high school, I'm working out 4 or 5 days a week and I'm rolling. You know what I mean? Like we see so many kids that come in here at 14, 15, 16, and they're just getting started. I mean, I don't know, when you guys started working out, I mean, again, I'm
Really?
older than you guys.
Yeah, I think 11.
I started working out when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, I think that was.
And so when I had that little bit of time before the high school kids, I had that leg up. I already knew how to do all this stuff.
Advantage already.
Already, you know. And so again, and in the classroom, my parents were pretty serious about that. And so it was like, okay, I know how to manage my time. I know how to get good grades. I already know how to lift. And so that should be able to give me a competitive advantage if I want. So that's the, same opportunities we want to be able to give to, to all these kids in the region within, what are we talking, 20, 25-minute drive? We have kids that come from Chesterton, 4 or 5 days a week. There's nothing to it. I mean, it's a 30-minute drive,
Exactly.
So, it's been exciting to see all of it evolve to now where it's like, okay, now we're rolling and now we can really offer it all.
Yep, and I think with that being said, I think the athletes in the area have to want it also. Like, I see too many athletes who complain or who make excuses about why they don't have this or their coaches or whatever excuses they come up with. You have people in the area who care, who want to see the area be better, who want to see the athletes, excel and perform at a high level. You have to want to come out here. Don't make the excuse. So the Great Lakes Sports Hub is here. It's within the driving distance. You should come here. You should, get up with you, Mike. Talk to us, talk to anybody, because there are people in this community who want to see you guys be successful, but then I just see a bunch of athletes say, make up excuses of I don't have the coaches that care, somebody cares, but you have to go out of your way to seek that help. Like, it's not just going to come to you. We're not going to DM you or knock on your door like, hey, I'm here to help you out. Like, no, as a man, if you need help, you go seek the help that you need. You know what I mean? So athletes have to understand, like, the opportunity to get help is here. You just have to come. You have to seek that help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I always say I can't want it more than you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, believe me, I've seen a lot of Division I talent. I've seen a lot of Division III talent. I've seen a lot of guys that, just fizzle off after high school. I know what that looks like, and I know what it takes. Again, I'll go back to Drake because he was on earlier. I tell the story when he was in the Army All-American game. I got interviewed, and we were talking about something. I said, let me tell you a story that defines Drake. It was his birthday 2 years ago, or I guess this is probably 3 years ago now. His mom lights the candles on the birthday cake and says, Drake's working out in his garage. Says, all right, Drake, time to come in. We're going to sing you happy birthday. This is no kidding. He turns, he goes, I got about 30 minutes left in my workout, and then we'll celebrate my birthday. And he went back to working out. That's the dedication. Everybody else is running to go eat cake. He's like, no. I got 30 more minutes. I know there's 15 people in there. Tell them to wait. I've got to work out because I have bigger things than eating birthday cake.
Yep.
And it's like when kids start understanding that, and the people that we have here are all dedicated. I mean, I talked about Bobby and Gloria, who just work tirelessly, to make the wheels turn on this place. But also we've got Katie Alexander, who helps over in the bubble. We've got Leslie Figg, who helps out over here. We've got, like I said, professional trainers, that are here all the time, dedicated to helping kids become as great as they can possibly be. So, yeah, I mean, the excuses are gone.
Yeah,
Now it's just, do you want to do it? And we have, we try to make it affordable. Listen, this is, it's a for-profit business. We got to be able to keep the lights on. But, I mean, we're, $175 a month for a membership to get professionally trained and come in here 3-4 days a week. I mean, it's like, I just don't know where else you get something like that. So we try to make it affordable for kids, and believe me, at the end of the day, is this in the best interest of the kids?
Yep. And if I was them, like, I wouldn't even be looking at price, because this is an investment.
That's what I was
and the
saying,
price you're gonna pay for not getting
cost
it,
versus
not doing
value,
it.
right?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So if you're thinking about, this is too much money, well, this isn't for you then.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because if you're gonna get a return on this.
That's
if you
right.
put in the work and get the coaching now, you'll get that college scholarship that you wanted. You'll get that shot at the pros that you wanted. But if you don't, and you just spend it on shoes, you spend it on clothes, you're gonna spend it anyway. So
Right.
it might as well go towards something that's valuable to your future versus just something that you're gonna throw away or damage, or it won't mean anything 5-10 years from now. So.
Right. Yeah, and we're like, I talk cost versus value all the time, right? Like, if all you do is look at cost, then, I mean, that's rough. Like, then it's just, I don't know, what kind of toothpaste do you use? Well, I use Sensodyne. Yeah, it costs $6 for a tube, but I don't want to use AIM that costs $1. When I drink a soda, I might go and have a Coke, because I don't like that, like, cheap store-bought soda. I don't like that, So, we all make decisions on cost versus value, and yet when we have to make the biggest decisions, we base it on cost. It's not cost; it's value. What are you getting for that $1, as opposed to, well, it costs $2 and it only costs $1 over there.
Right.
Well, yeah, but you're getting $1 of garbage. So, that's how I've always looked at things, and try to help people, understand what the value truly is versus just, a dollar figure.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of things in regards to really becoming the athlete that a lot of people want to be, it's also that sacrifice. Like, because when you mentioned with Drake and celebrating his birthday and things like that, I guarantee you a lot of times he probably had situations where he had to cancel going out with friends because he wanted to get a workout in, or he had something else more important that was leading more towards his goals and opportunities in sports or whatever, that he had to cancel sometimes of kicking it with friends or partying or things like that. He may have to stay up late nights watching film or things like that. He even mentioned when at Notre Dame he doesn't really have time to do other things because he's a two-sport athlete, playing baseball and football, kind of doing them both simultaneously, and then also being an academic student, a high-performing one at that. So it's like, when it comes to you getting the kids started early on, I think that's also important. They can understand that sometimes it's going to take some sacrifices. Sometimes I can't go out and do the things that I want to do. Sometimes I got to maybe pay the extra money just because it's going to give me value and things like that. It's all a sacrifice at the end of the day, but are you willing to make that sacrifice to get that competitive advantage in the long term for your life, in your career, or is it in your sports or whatever? So I think that's also an important thing to touch upon when it comes to that. Definitely the value aspect of it all, when you take the money out of it, it's all going to be sacrifices and things that you got to do in order to get where you want to be. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in 2 weeks. It happens with the progression, but it also takes the time for you to take it seriously. Like you said, I cannot want it more than you want it. You have to want it more than anybody else. And you have to protect that dream. You have to protect that want and make sure you're doing the things that you need to do in order to create that competitive advantage for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, talking about that, you know, when do you work out? We were talking about this the other day. When do you work out? Well, I work out before school. You know how many kids are like, well, I get up 15 minutes before school starts.
No.
Well, that's not what good players do.
Right.
They work out at 6 o'clock in the morning, then they go to school, then they do their high school workout. That's something else we were talking about. How many kids are like, well, I did my high school workout today. Oh, okay, tell me about it. Well, it was 30 minutes and I was working out with 5 other kids. Oh, well, then you did not work out.
Right.
That's not a workout, not for good players anyway. Average players, cool, do that. But for good players, it's 2 workouts a day because it's a primary and a supplemental. That happens all the time. And guys are like, I work out at school 3 times a week, man. I'm going to be a superstar. Nope. You know what you're going to be? You're going to be
People think
just
that
like
for real.
every dude at your school that works out 3 times a week.
Right.
That's it. And you're going to be telling people in 10 years how you used to play high school ball.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to be.
And I think it's a cultural thing. Like, I just think that
No
this,
doubt.
this message, everything that we're talking about, this ideology needs to be filtered through all of the schools, all through the coaches, because I don't think the coaches are doing their job in explaining this because they know, or they're supposed to know, and those same coaches will be the coaches that tell their kids not to come here, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
Hey, don't go train here. We're doing all our training at the school. Well, if it's not going to benefit them and it's not going to get you the result that you want, because they're playing on your team essentially.
Right.
So whatever they become, that's what you're gonna have to put on the field. That's what you produce. So if it's not winning, what are you doing it for? If I know I'm in high school and I know that you have this place over here and you have trainers, and I know that I can't give specific, instruction, or I can't train someone specifically. It's 60 kids here. Okay, let's go over there. They're doing a great job over there. Let's compliment each other. How about I come in and I talk to you? Hey, I want my team to come in here and train. This is what I want. This is what we do. Let's work together, because how I talked to Trey before, we had a Zoom call. This isn't about a section. This isn't about a conference. This is about a region. This is about all of us collectively working together for the betterment of our kids, for the athletes in the area. So there's no ego. There's no pride. I'm not mad at you because you have the Great Lakes Sports Hub and my kids are coming here. I'm happy because I don't have 8 hours, 9 hours to dedicate to make sure my athlete is elite. But you can help me do that. So why would I be against that?
Right.
And my team sucks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it just doesn't make sense.
So the answer to your question was in your question. It's ego. It's ego. They go, well, I want my players to be better. Man, but I'm not sure I want to send them to FA and he's the one that made them better. I don't want to be the one that made them better. Well, listen, and what I tell, I deal a lot with the baseball side. What I talk to the baseball coaches about is, listen, your hands are tied more than ours are. So, I try to push that off where it's like, listen, it's not your fault. It's your hands are tied a little bit more. Let us help you. If I'm teaching an infield or something, I'm not saying that what you're teaching them is wrong. I'm saying that this is what I teach kids, and I'm pretty good at teaching kids. I'm not saying I know more than infield about anybody else, but I do know that I teach kids pretty well. And so if you want your kid to be taught the right way and have your kid be better, well, then use resources. You know what I mean? Nobody comes in. We do not say your high school coach doesn't know anything. Your high school, strength coach is an idiot. We don't say that. We say, please tell us what you're doing at high school and let us supplement it and help you get to whatever level you want to be. Yeah. And some of these kids, all they want to do is play in high school.
Right.
No problem.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fine. That's cool. My younger son, played football at Mount Carmel, right? Played quarterback, doesn't want to play college football. No problem. Dude won 2 state championships, and he's going to have memories for the rest of his life, but doesn't want to play in college. My older son wanted to play in college. He's a college baseball player, and went and did his thing on that side of it. So no matter what the player wants to be, we want to help them be the absolute best at that level.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
I don't care. I'm like you guys deal with it, I'm sure, all the time, where guys say, well, how about this? The quarterback that I know works with you guys, Sorensen, right? Just committed, right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Yep.
Now, to sit there and say, listen, that kid worked his tail off to be able to get those offers and be able to commit to a Division I college. But, we're not going to sit here and go, well, you should have been Big Ten. You know, like that's like some ego stuff that drives me crazy with adults.
Yeah.
Like, man, this kid worked his butt off. Congratulations,
Yep.
Noah Ehrlich. I think yesterday, or maybe even this morning, I saw that he committed to Miami of Ohio.
Yep.
Like, this is really, really cool for these guys to be able to do that. And all we want to do is say, hey, we want to help you just be a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And when you come back here in your off season, man, get back here. You know this is the best place to train. You're going to get your work in. It's not like kids goofing around and weights are just rolling all over the place. I mean, it's a place to get the real athletes. You know, shouldn't say it, it's not a real athlete, but the guys that want to compete at whatever highest level they want. We want to help them.
Yep. Just be the best version of themselves.
Exactly.
Like that's what it's about. Like you don't have to be the starter, you don't have to be the star player, but through this structure that we've created, you'll be the best possible man you can be, the best possible athlete you can be, and you take it and do whatever because this carries over.
Right.
So if we have a program that's average and we're not holding anybody accountable and it's just all of these things wrong, that carries over. So the one thing that I see is not only do certain athletes from certain high schools not play, but they don't finish college because they don't have that structure, they don't have that discipline. Our part is much bigger than I think a lot of people understand. Like you're a second parent. Like if the kid is with you for 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, you're influential to that kid. So I have to discipline you as a coach. I have to hold you accountable as a coach. I have to teach you things as a coach. It's not just X's and O's. It's not just show up Friday and we win this game or we lose this game and we go home. The athletes that I interact with, I text them still. I call them still. I'm still keeping up. This relationship doesn't end after you graduate and get out of the high school. Like these are lifelong relationships, and I'm gonna make sure I can help you as long as because I'm 27. I don't have it all figured out, but I can learn from you. You're older than me, so what you teach me, I can teach them. You know, so I'm not just gonna disregard everybody else and just think about what I think about. No, I want to learn from everybody. Like even Drake being here, he's a linebacker at the University of Notre Dame. Yeah, I'm a coach. I can learn from Drake.
Yeah.
I can ask him about coverages. I can ask him about things. He's learning from great coaches. So it will be my ego if I say, I'm not listening to him. He's a college kid. He's a freshman. I'm not like, what sense does that make? He plays at Notre Dame. So I'm going to sit down. I'm going to talk to him like I talk to you because I'm sure he can teach me something.
And again, now we're getting back to ego.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, are we willing to check our egos to help other people? You know, and it's something that, you know, I've learned over my professional life. You know, man, the more people you help, the better everything magically turns out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like those people that are out there for themselves, it's like, man, you wonder why they're always grinding and they're always, you know, stuff is always happening to them. Because you're not helping other people, man. Like, I firmly believe that. And you brought up the term influencer. And to me, I talk to kids about this all the time. Who are your influencers? You know, of course, most of the time it's going to be parents. You know, but coaches, we spend as much or sometimes even more at the high school level. We're spending more time with those kids than they are with their parents. Yep. And so we as coaches, certainly teachers, you know, have a big impact. You know, wherever these other influencers are, with these kids, they got to understand that the people that they are surrounding themselves with is critically important. So when you ask, like, you know, you got to sacrifice things sometimes, you're absolutely right. I mean, there are so many times when, you know, I thankfully get the opportunity to coach a lot of kids that go play at the next level. And I talk to those kids all the time. Hey, I'm not stupid. I know you got prom coming up. I'm not stupid. I know, I get it. Just be careful who you're around. You know, be smart about it. Those guys want to stay up until midnight? Cool. Your night ends at 10:30. You know, let's be smart about who our influencers are. Those people don't have to get up and work out tomorrow morning. Nope. Those people don't have to answer to the college coach they're going to go play for one day. They don't aspire to be the same thing that you want to be. So be careful who your influencers are, you know, and when you pick them, you better pick them right, you know?
Yeah, especially when, like, even getting to a certain age, like, and maturity comes along and you start to learn, like, oh, some of the people that I'm around, it's like we kind of outgrew each other because I'm on this kind of path and I got this kind of ceiling for myself and they're over here doing something that's like, we kind of just fall off. And sometimes that can happen early on in high school. Sometimes you find out in college. Sometimes you find out in adulthood. But like you said, it's like who your influencers, who you're around. You're going to be like the 5 people that you hang around, you're all essentially going to eventually be the same. So who you're around, who are they working to be their better selves, even if it's not in a sport, even if it's just in life? Are they working to elevate? Are they working to get that high-paying job? Are they working to start their own business? What are they doing that's influential, that y'all can all making sure that y'all holding each other accountable, that y'all making sure y'all elevating to the highest level y'all can possibly be, whether it's a sport, whether it's a job, whether it's with family, kids, or whatever. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Let me ask you this: who's your main target audience for this podcast?
High school athletes.
High school
high
athletes.
school, college athletes.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, so
yeah.
so the high school athletes college athletes too, whatever, that are listening to this, every single person has somebody in their life that has chosen to take a little bit different path, right? That may be the kid that grew up down the street from you that you were best friends with, that, started smoking a little weed, drinking a little bit in high school and whatever. And okay, everybody knows that person. Everybody has somebody like that in their life. The question is, do I let that person influence me to come down to their level? Or it doesn't mean you don't have to be friends with that person. Listen, they're your childhood friend. Let them be your childhood friend. But that doesn't mean that they get to influence you and keep you out till midnight and say, no, come on, man, it's not that big a deal. Let's have a couple drinks. No, it is that big a deal. You know what I mean? Like it's even, especially today, you guys know it a hell of a lot more than I do. But like, you're at a party and you've got a beer and somebody takes a picture or puts it on social media. Man.
Especially if you're underage.
Look at I'm gonna forget the guy's name that in the draft a couple years ago they got caught with like
the bong on his head.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
What was his name? He's Larry Tunsil. So that dude is playing in the NFL playoffs right now, and it's not a big deal that like whatever, he's made it to the NFL. That dude cost him tens of millions of dollars. He was a first-round pick. He ended up being a third-round pick. Like, be careful who you're, like, was anybody at that party, anybody that took that picture, were they looking out for him and his family, generations of his family? Nope. Hell no. They were just, this is funny. This big-time dude is smoking weed, and I'm going to put,
just to say I got the picture.
Yep.
For
and
what?
to say I'm the one that posted it.
Yep. And so that's why you got to be so careful who your influencers are, and everybody's watching.
Yep.
That's like, if you think like, oh no, I'm at my buddy's house. No, not with social media now. Everybody's watching 24 hours a day. And if you want to know, there's two things.
And everybody got an opinion.
Yep. And even if you don't think it's that big a deal, well, somebody else might.
Exactly.
And there's two things. One is you got to get your grades. I just don't want to. If you come to me and you have, and this happens, I deal with it in the recruiting side for baseball a little bit more, but in baseball, they get 11.7 scholarships at the Division I level. Right. Okay, split between 26 kids. Man. Okay, there's no full rides. It's not football. You're not getting that. So I've never ever had a college coach ask me, "How is he a good player?" Never. They don't. They know. They're already watching. They know if they're a good player or not. The first thing they ask, tell me about their grades. If I go back and I go, well, he's got a 2.7, man, forget it. I got a guy that's got a 3.7 and is the exact same player.
Yep. And
it's that simple.
Yeah, that's what I tell the athletes all the time.
It translates.
Like,
It goes hand in hand.
And the thing is, you have nothing else to do. Like, if you say you want to play college baseball, football, whatever, collegiate athlete, what else are you doing? Your job is to go to school, your sport. Only two things that matter. So if one is not happening, then you're not serious about doing this. Like, you literally have two jobs.
You're
you know
choosing. You're choosing where to spend your time. Yeah. And a lot of kids go, I don't have time. And listen, if you're getting an early workout in, you're going to school, you get a school workout in, you got to do your homework. Maybe you have time. You want to have a little bit of social time with your girlfriend, whatever. I get all that. But it's not that you don't have time. It's that you don't have time management. Yep. Like I remember when I first started my business, I scheduled every day down to a 15-minute time block. You want to get serious about what you want to do, I got to create a business. Man, I was 23 years old. My wife was pregnant, and I was starting a business. I didn't know anything about anything. Breaking my time down 15 minutes at a time. My wife doesn't even know this. I mean, my calendar was broken down that serious because I had to make money. I didn't know what, I had a kid on the way. At that point, we didn't even have, we were renting a house down in Alabama. And so I was like, oh man, I got to figure this out. So I mastered time management. And so when kids are like, I don't have time. Well, yes, you do. Believe me, you got time.
Plenty of time.
You just don't have time management.
Yeah, because once you don't have time, you'll know, like, man, I don't have time. You know what I mean? But
and that's and we were even talking about that earlier, right? Where it's like, for a project like this takes a tremendous amount of time, but, if you have the right time management, that's all right. That's okay. I'll put in, 12 hours a day because I know how to manage my time to make sure that, when I have off time, I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to spend time with my kids and, make sure that that's, my priorities are set. But it's because I manage my time properly, not because I don't have 25 hours in a day.
Right.
I got 24 hours like everybody else, but manage it differently. And I'm telling you, grades, number one thing that college kids come back to me and talk about is time management. If they learn it before college,
You'll be
totally different world. Like
way
Drake,
ahead.
Drake learned how to do my time management calendar. I use a red light, yellow light, green light system, so they know what's important. It's it's super easy to do on your phone, but you know how to manage your time when you get to college. We were talking about working out earlier. Man, you get to college and you know time management. You are way ahead of everybody else because they don't. I mean, most adults don't know how to do a good time management calendar. So grades and grades and influencers and just really the culture of who you want to be. I think are critical for these kids to truly understand.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I really just hope this really gets out there. You know what I mean? Like, that is the reason why we do this podcast, because we want to provide perspective to the athletes from different athletes with different experiences, and us just speaking like this is the stuff that they need to hear, and we just gonna keep on saying the message over and over again, because if they grasp this concept, you will see a tremendous change in the athletes and the success in the area. Like, it's a real simple formula to be successful, but it's just about creating that culture where they understand it. And now it's a machine. Now we're doing it because we want to influence all of the high schools. I think I talked to you about this. Yep. I don't want one school to be good, two schools to be good. All of the schools in this region could be good and we can compete. And when Max Preps release the rankings, we'll see 2 or 3 Indiana schools, 2 or 3 Illinois schools. We'll be traveling to, different states to go play the best competition, not just limiting ourselves to here and making excuses about, only one team is good, so how about they go play somewhere else? Let's figure out a way to make everybody else good too. There's enough athletes, what I mean?
And I tell you, to me, now we're, I'll get to the business side of that's what capitalism is all about, right? Like, so Crown Point had a nice year this year, right? Went to the state championship, they had a nice year. Yep. If that doesn't push, and I know Brian Parker at Hanover Central, man, that guy, he grinds. I promise you it bothers him that he didn't make it to the state championship game, right? And he's going to be back in there working. And all these guys, I'm not, not just picking out them. There's, a lot of good coaches. But if that doesn't elevate every coach to go, Crown Point just went to a state championship game. I better handle my business here and take care of it. I said my son goes to Mount Carmel. I have nothing but positive ththings to say about Mount Carmel. But man, Northwest Indiana schools, you better pick it up. Yeah. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I've lived that side of it. I've seen, a lot of players around here. I'm telling you, man, you better pick it up. Yep. It's not the answer is not dumb everything down so that kids can't go to Illinois. Right. That's not the answer. The answer is you do better. Exactly. You be better and make kids stay here. Yep. We had, that we were on Drake.
We had this conversation all the time.
Man, right? I mean,
what you're saying right now, we had this conversation all the time.
The answer is don't make it easy. The answer is you got to work harder. Yep. We had our Pop Warner team, man, loaded. Okay, 9 years old. Our Pop Warner team was loaded. We went down to Florida. I think like 2 kids from that team played locally. Everybody else went to a private school and left.
I used to say the same thing about baseball. Travel ball, we played in, I'm from Lansing. Yeah. We had a travel ball team that was phenomenal in the area. We dominated the area, to be quite frank. And then when we would go to the high school level, it would probably be only a small percentage of us that's playing at the local high school, and a lot of them are at the other, Catholic League schools or just a different school. And I always think, I'm like, man, if we have this same exact team that we dominate in the local area, because we're playing the top players in the area, top players in the state, top players in the teams in the nation. Yeah, that's supposed to translate to the local high school level as well. But like you said, it doesn't translate to that all the time, because a lot of times players don't stay. And what's the reason why players don't stay? Sometimes they don't want to play for that school because they don't think it's in their best interest for their career. Yep. And what that can be is coaching, or whether it could be the culture, or it could be a numerous amount of things. Yep. But to me, there's no reason why a local Pop Warner or a local travel team or whatever, they can dominate outside of the, in the summer, and then when it's time to bring them to the school, they don't want to go to the school. There's no way that should be possible. I mean, obviously it happens, but you know, what is the coaching doing? What is the school doing to retain these players? Are they even going out to reach out to these players and watching their games in the summertime before they even get to the high school level? Are they doing those things?
Right.
We don't know.
Establishing relationships
relationships
high school.
beforehand and things like that.
Look, I got a formula. I got a blueprint to how, you know, we want to create a powerhouse in this area. One day when we, you know, get settled with everything, you know, Devon, he's over in Barcelona right now playing. So when he comes back and we really get settled, we want to go into a program and we're going to show how it needs to be done because we have an idea of how to approach it. I'm not going to say it on here because I don't want to like stuff. But this is the point of all of this. Like this, even what we're doing right now is going to contribute to when we start coaching and we have that impact and that influence. Like just this right now, people know who we are. Athletes know who we are. So once we decide to go coach somewhere, oh, I want to go play with the off-season coaches. I want to go, like this is going to create that even in this alone. This is just one of the tools we can use to even have athletes gravitate towards us and have that following. So this is what you have to do. You have to be on media. You just have to do things to get the athletes engaged and give them a reason to want to come to the school. Something that they can have pride and take pride in, not just it's just a community school. Like no, I don't think it's no question. Yeah, we're going there because we have that culture of winning and success and building character. Man, everything. You have no reason to travel 50 minutes out of your way to go somewhere and you have a school 5 minutes away. I just don't. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah,
I don't understand it.
It's again, so much of it to me just goes back to ego. This is like dime store psychology, but I mean, it's an ego thing where these guys don't want to look in the mirror. Like to me, so I always talk. I mean, I'm so on Twitter every day. I post something every single day on Twitter. Today it was I said we're all going to fail, we're all going to learn, we're all going to succeed. Like if you believe that, and I love losing. I know that sounds crazy. Parents hate it, especially parents of 12-year-old kids. They hate it because, you know, little Timmy gets in the car and he's upset if they lose. Don't worry, that loss just made little Timmy a better player, and it's going to make me a better coach. And so much of that is like when you lose, man, is your first thing to say, you know, okay, good. All right, it's me. What did I do? I talk a lot of the leadership stuff I talk about is extreme ownership with Jocko Willink and Navy SEALs and whatnot. So if I make a mistake, man, that's me. If a kid gives up 10 runs, he's pitching, he gives up 10 runs, man, that's my fault. How did I not get him ready? Man, okay, I got to go back to the drawing board here and figure out how to get this kid better, you know? And so the problem is so many coaches take it personal if they lose or they don't, like, you know, it's like, that's a good thing. That's good. You shouldn't be looking at this like, you know,
You should
man.
always learn from your losses.
Of course, and you got to look in the mirror and go, man, I sucked. You know, wow. Okay, I'm going to get better. And then go find somebody that's done it before. You know, hey, man, I'm struggling a little bit. What'd you do to get through, you know, get over this hump? You know, well, I've already made it there, so I'll tell you what I did because everybody goes through the same thing, right? There was, I think it was, I mean, this was years ago, but Drake's dad used to say, you know, all I have to be told is that it's been done before. If somebody's done it before, I know I'll work hard enough to do it too. I just need to know it's been done before, and then I'll figure out how to do it and how to be successful. You know what I mean? And there's too many people, they like making excuses. You know, it's easy to make the excuse. It's hard to look in the mirror and say, no, it's not them. It's me.
Easy to blame the kids. It's the kids. They don't want to listen. They don't want to. It's your culture.
And the kids vice versa. Right? Oh, my coach sucks.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you're lazy. You don't want to hear it, but you're lazy. You don't work out as hard because you were always bigger, stronger, faster, and then all of a sudden now you're 16 and these kids, testosterone's kicked in, these kids are working out, and now you're just one of the guys. Well, now it's the coach's fault. No, it's not. It's your fault. You didn't work out. You didn't do what you had to do to get to be there, you know. So I
like to say control the controllables. What things can you control in the aspect of your life to make yourself a better person, and then try to limit.
You reading my band over here?
Oh, I didn't even see that. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I mean that's seriously. I mean that's I live my life that way. Like
exactly.
If you aren't, you know, I went to Alabama. I'm a huge Saban fan. Like, and I'm not talking about football coach. I'm talking about how he prepared kids. Like the numbers don't lie. I mean, turn on the NFL games today. I mean, hell, there's going to be 5-6 Alabama players on every team that's playing, that's starting and playing at a high level, you know? And it's like when you start letting that outside noise, like rankings and stuff, I get it, man. Like, I get it. It's cool for kids. They like it. No one cares. The college coaches don't care what some guy, I was talking with a guy he's a national recruiting guy for a large organization. And I sat there and, you know, we were just talking about football one day, and I go, I go, dude, I don't know, like, what makes you think you know more than me, but you don't. Oh, you didn't do anything that I haven't done. You don't know any more than me. You got a job and you did it for 15 years. And so you might be better at your job, but that doesn't mean you know more than me.
Right.
You know? And so these guys that are ranking kids, man, they don't know. Some of them have some connections and they know a little bit, but my God, how hard is it to say that a 6'4", 240-pound guy that runs a 4.40 is going to be good?
Right.
That is not that hard.
Right.
Put on film and watch him not be able to take on an offensive guard that works to the next level.
Extra layer to that extra element.
Now I can tell. Like there's a kid that plays at Alabama, Keon Keeley, right? One of the biggest recruits in the country last year. Keon Keeley was played down at Florida. I have in-laws in Florida, so I follow some Florida high school football a little bit. And I'm watching their stuff. When Keon Keeley wanted to be good, dude was just ridiculous. But I'm watching this game, and I'm like, his motor runs about 30% of the time. And when he wants it to run, man, he's good. Bro, you're going to go play in the SEC. He was committed to Notre Dame, and then he wound up going to Alabama. You're playing in the SEC. You can't turn your motor on 30% of the time. It is not going to work. And so he went down there going, oh, man, I'm going to get some playing time here as a freshman. None. Zero. Right? Like,
and that could be a rude awakening for a lot of people.
Yeah.
it is. And that's what these kids have to understand, that it is so much higher level to be a collegiate athlete. And I don't care what level you're playing at. You know, again, baseball, football is a little bit different. On the baseball side, because of scholarship limitations and whatnot, there's a lot of kids that'll play at a lower level. I don't care what level you play at. Like, it's hard, and it's, if you think you're going to play at that level, dude, it's like, well, I go to every practice. I never miss my high school lifting. And it's like, everybody does that.
Right.
You aren't doing anything special here.
Right.
Like, that's what everybody does.
Right.
And so these kids have to start understanding that, like, if you really want to be there, you got to take advantage of people like you guys and facilities like this and go, this is the next level. If you want to be at the next level, this is what the next level looks like. If you don't, that's fine. Nobody's telling you have to, but you better understand, if you want to, this is what you got to be doing. Right? Sorensen's over there throwing.
Oh, he is?
Right? 2
Okay.
weeks later, not right now, but a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
He's over there
yeah.
throwing. And so he's over there throwing. Where was the rest of those dudes?
That's what I was saying. I was even telling
Yeah.
him that. I'm like, dang, is your arm okay? You been went out here.
All
Yeah.
right,
I went out here.
I mean, that's
yeah.
like I'm sitting there, and it was like my son was all excited about it that he got to do. He's like, man, it's fun getting back out there and
Right.
throwing and slinging it around a little bit. And it's like, well, where are these other guys? These
Right.
are reps. Like, the guys that are serious. Like, if you go over there, what time is it? Well, probably in about 10 minutes. If we walked over there, you want to know who's over there doing the extra work? The dudes that are already committed to big time schools. And the ones that say they want to go big time, they ain't over there.
Yep.
And it's like, this isn't magic, guys. Like,
Yeah.
the ones that are here working
It's a
are the
formula.
ones that are getting to the next level.
Yeah.
It's,
It's a
just,
formula
it's
to
that
everything.
easy.
And that's what everything in life, you know what I mean? It's not just sport, and that's
Yeah.
why I said it translates over. Like, whether it's your job, if you want to be the best at your job or whatever career
Yep.
you have, and you want to get promoted and you want to be whatever, it's gonna take hours and hours, days and days, months and months compounding. Just like us with this podcast, there are a lot of people who say they want to do podcasts, but they don't make it past 5 episodes. They don't make it past 6
Right.
episodes. We're on 14, 15. We got so much further to go. And
Right.
we're always thinking about ways to get better, and it's just compounding. And one day it's gonna pop, and somebody may think like, "Dang, they just did it,"
Yeah.
but they didn't see the episodes and the hours of editing and all the
game
pop.
planning.
They don't see everything, so everybody just thinks it's overnight because of social media. You may think somebody blew up overnight because you didn't see him yesterday and you see him today, so you just think that's what happened. But really, they've been doing it for
Nothing's
7, 8 years, and it's just compounding. All these years of us putting in work trying to be better. That's what it's about. So whatever you're doing, it's gonna
Consistency.
take time. It's no
Yep.
quick way to do it. You know
Consistency
what I
is the
mean?
key.
Yeah. So
Consistency is the key, and then also not getting complacent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just mentioned that the guys that in 10 minutes we can see the guys that already got D1 scholarships,
Yep.
but they not complacent with, oh, I got a D1 scholarship. Now it's like, all right, what's the next thing now?
And that goes back to competing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have here Tuesday nights. We have an invite only elite infield group that comes over here. Okay, Tuesday nights 8 o'clock. If we did it at 10 o'clock, they probably would like it even more. They like being there when nobody else is there because they go to work. Okay, we did some metric gathering last Tuesday. We ran 60 times and did infield velocities. Okay, just some baseline stuff, that we want to gather every couple months. We'll retest. So we were doing that. Man, I mean, these dudes are the best infielders in Northwest Indiana. And they're like, I mean, there was one kid, he's like, I'm running the 60 again. He was so aggravated that he didn't get the number he wanted. I'm going again. All of them ran at least twice because they wanted to beat their other time. We had one kid throw 92 across the diamond. Give me another one. I can throw 93. We had one kid throw 89 like 6 times. He got so pissed. He comes in, and I'm hitting fungos, and I hit him one, and I can see him just leading into it, 91. And he was like, all right, I'm good now. Now we can move on. And he's not trying to hit 91 next time. He's trying to hit 92 and 93 next time. Right. And that's
how you get better.
These kids have to learn. Competition is good. Like, right, they get beat over the head. I said my sister's a 7th grade science teacher. 7th grade math teacher. She goes in there. There's certain things she's not allowed to do because it's too competitive. Because it's too, like, well, we don't want to make, this kid's not as good at math, so we don't want to make him feel bad. Let's work to get this kid up to the next level, but let's dumb everything down for the rest of the kids. And so, like, when it comes to competition, a lot of these kids, even just in the last 10 years, a lot of these kids have been taught competition is bad. They're going to school every day being told don't compete because then somebody's going to feel bad over here.
Right.
No, that's not how the world works. You're going to compete for a scholarship. You're going to compete for a starting position. You're going to compete for a job. You're going to compete for a wife one day. You're going to compete for everything in your life. And so it's that competition and consistency of like, man, this is what it is. If you don't think it is, like, you're wrong. This is what it is. The people that have done it, you're not going to be like my son's 5'7", 145 pounds, okay, that's in college. I said, dude, you are not going to be the first 5'7", 145-pound middle infielder in the SEC. You're not going to break that mold, okay? So if you don't go get in the gym, none of the rest of it matters. I know you're a good player, but unless you're 170, 175 pounds at 5'7", you're only going to be a good player. All right. Kind of worked out, kind of didn't work out, and so that's why he went D3. All right, well, that's where you fit, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But it's like these kids, man, they got to understand, we know what the blueprint is. We know what it takes to get there. Now it's up to you. How hard do you want to work? Yep. Do you want to compete, or do you want to make excuses? It's my coach's fault. My school doesn't offer enough. My team doesn't let me do this. I gotta travel too far. Man, we're sitting in the middle of all this, man. Like, it's all right here. If you're listening to this podcast, odds are you're close enough to be getting in here and working out.
That's very true.
Yep.
That's very true.
And if not, then find a place, if you're in a different state, find a place close to you and get after it, Don't wait for it to come to you. No, like, nobody's walking around, with a book of scholarships, handing them out, because, they like you. We're talking about multi-billion-dollar businesses. This is how it goes,
Yep, exactly. And at the end of the day, you gotta want it more than anybody.
Yep.
Nobody cannot want it more than you.
Yep. And you can't, and on top of that, you just can't allow anybody to tell you no. Like, I love when people tell me no, and it's like, oh man, now I'm definitely going to do it. It's just a matter of, am I going to do it tomorrow, or is it going to take me a month? Is it going to take me a year? And that's something I'll give Bobby a hell of a lot of credit about this. Like, there are so many people that I heard over the last 2 years. I was saying, he's not going to get it done. That Hub's not going to come to fruition. He won't be able to pull it off. And then here we sit, and now they're like, uh-oh, he did it.
Yep.
And it's like, just tell me no. Tell me I can't do it and watch me do it. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know if that's Bobby's motivation. That's my motivation. When somebody tells me no, okay, all right, well, it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
And I'm not going to rub it in their face. They're going to see it. I don't need to do that. I'm just going to work hard to get to what I want, and then let them watch from afar.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You got anything else you want to tap into?
No,
that was a great conversation.
That was good. We got to have a part 2 of that one. I think, cause even to just touch more into the facility, because I think we talked a lot. But I think it's a lot more we could even touch on. But that was definitely a great conversation. One that I really want the athletes to tap into, and hopefully we put it out, and then they receive it well, and get some circulation, because it's definitely the type of stuff that they need to be hearing. If it's not from their coaches, if it's not from their parents, this is what you need to do if you truly want to be successful. But it only starts if you truly want to be successful. If you truly want to be the best version of yourself that you can be, you have to make that decision. And once you make that decision, then we can work. But if you just decide like that, I want to be average, I don't really care, that's fine. That's okay.
Yep.
The world is balanced. We need average. We need below average. We need great. It all balances with each other. So, hey, choose your role. Choose what you want to be.
That's it. And that word is, the last thing I'll say is that word is a huge piece of it. This is a choice. There's, like I said, when I'm on Twitter, all the time I talk about this is your choice. It is not somebody else. It is you. You are the one making this choice. Well, I can't get a ride. I talked about Mount Carmel. I can't get a ride. Well, dudes get up at 5:30 in the morning, get on the train. You know why? Because they know that this is what they have to do. So it is your choice what you choose to do. It is not based on anybody else. Some people, listen, if God gave you, 6'4", 235 pounds, that's great. But that doesn't mean you're automatically going to be a great athlete. How many 7-footers are walking around this world right now that aren't in the NBA? Just because you're 7 feet doesn't mean you're going to be in the NBA. You got to work your butt off to get there. Exactly. Now, if I'm 6'1" and 110 pounds or 210 pounds, if I want to go play linebacker like Drake at Notre Dame, okay, I'm going to have to put a little bit more work in than Drake. I could still do it, but I'm going to have to work harder than him. Good luck. You ain't going to outwork him. He won't let you. Somebody asked, I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying it. Somebody asked me the other day, was asking about what about the portal and, these guys coming in. And it's like, I swear to God, it's like, it just doesn't even cross his mind. What about it? Those guys aren't going to beat me. Like, it doesn't even cross his mind that there possibly could be somebody that's going to be better than him and outwork him.
Right.
So, I'll just outwork him. I'm not worried about that. Oh, man, this guy, Drake's numbers are pretty good, but, if there's a guy that runs faster or lifts more, he's like, okay, I'll go spend more time in the film room. And it's like, I'm not going to lose, so it is a choice. It is not based on anybody else. The sooner you learn that it's your choice, and your choice today affects your choices tomorrow, and you got to make the right choices all the time, sky's the limit.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, well, hey, it was a great conversation. I'm glad that, you had us come in and, we sat down.
I appreciate you guys coming in.
Yeah, appreciate it, definitely. So this is another episode of the Off-Season Podcast, episode 15. And we're going to keep rolling, man. Roll to what, 100, you know what I mean? 200, wherever
beyond.
It goes. Yeah,
exactly.
Beyond, yep. All right,
yep. Mike, I do want to thank you for coming to our platform and then allowing us to spend some time in your facility to also speak to Drake and yourself. Can't wait to see what all of this grows into, what it stands today may be something completely different a year from now, 2 years from now, and things like that. But I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Can't wait. We'll bring guys in as a part of it too, and let's get the athletes in here and get to work.
Exactly. Yep.